Welkom bij de Muzikanten Kletskoek Podcast. Ik ben Sascha van Loenen.
En ik ben Pieter Boutkan en dit is de podcast voor de groeiende muzikant.
En vandaag hebben we een hele toffe gast genaamd Malik Berrabah. Hij is baas bij Wisseloord Studios. Hij runt dat nu al een tijdje. Hij is producer, hij is heel erg muzikaal en hij weet heel erg van wanten als het komt op de muziekindustrie.
Krijg je nou geen genoeg van deze podcast en de tips en tricks die we hierin vertellen? Dan hebben we ook nog een Facebookgroep genaamd Muzikanten Kletskoek.
Ja, daar kan je aanmelden. Er zijn hele toffe mensen die jouw vragen kunnen beantwoorden. En misschien kun jij ook wel iemand anders vragen beantwoorden. En als je nou meer wil weten van de podcast zelf, dan kun je ook op de Instagram van onze podcast kijken. De link staat in de description. Nou, let's go! Welcome.
No, thank you.
Very nice
to have me.
Yeah.
Long time no see.
Yeah.
And first time I see you.
Yeah, it's been a while with the whole COVID situation, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you guys have any problems with that?
No, actually, for the studio, it's been like a really good year because I started a lot of transformations actually just at the beginning of the COVID situation, and then it got really a super busy year. And then also because no one is playing live, a lot of people went to the studio to record, to do video shoots anyway. So for the studio itself, yeah, after a few months it became really good, and the publishing company that went really good, and the academy is booming. So
Great.
I'm not complaining, but I know it's hard for a lot of musicians.
And can you tell us about Wisseloord? Because it used to be, it's one of the biggest names in Europe as a studio, right?
Yeah.
But that's been like 20 years ago, maybe?
Yeah,
30 years ago?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Like,
it was built in 78.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. And but what is it now? Because it has been through some changes. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so first... there happened a lot in all those years in the 80s, 90s. There was really a need for recording facilities because not everybody could record music by themselves. But through the years, we all know that the technology developed, so you can make a great record here. So the need of a tool as a studio became less. So that made that the studio itself had quite some struggles. It went down a couple of times. And it was a place from engineers, and people kept on trying to be a recording studio. And about 10 years ago, the whole place has been rebuilt again completely, and still trying to be a recording studio. And when I joined in myself, I come from a different angle. I'm not an engineer. I'm really a musician, composer, producer. And for me, the most important thing is the music, and not so much the tools that you use to make the music. It's both. It's nice to have some tools, but I focus on the creative part and the people, actually. And at first I was a client of the studio, and then the team asked me if I wanted to help them to improve the company. And I built a publishing company. I made a deal with all the conservatories, so they send all their students, and I connect them together to create music on some briefings that I give from the industry. And this grew, and it became more important than the studio itself. And then I built an academy, which is private education from songwriting and production, but not like a school, like really starting from the core of the studio and the connection of the industry. So all the people who give classes are actually a lot of producers who scores millions of streams or hits or whatever, all the clients of the studios. So I turned it around. I invite all those people that I meet at the coffee machine, plus my personal network as a producer with all the labels, publishers, and a lot of international artists. And those people give classes to few talents that I integrate in the hub. And so there's still the studio, there's still the gear. We have great mics, we have great amps, everything you can think of. But that's not my focus. It's more a hub where, sure, you can record, but you can also release, publish your music. You can get guidance to improve your artistry and make better music, and also really connect to other musicians, but also people from the field. And so it's completely different idea of what is a studio compared to a few years ago. And and is booming.
Yeah. So you said you started as a client.
Yeah.
You were in a band, or what did you do?
No, I write songs, compose, and produce. Well, I come from France. I think you can hear my accent. And that first time I studied classical music, so I play flute. Been playing in a lot of orchestras and a lot of chamber music. And next to this, I always played piano, and keyboards in pop bands to pay my studies. And and after flute, I also studied pop piano, and then I also studied composition, arrangement. So I have 3 full courses. And then when I studied in Paris, one of my orchestration teacher gave me a gig to write some string arrangement for a pop band. And then from doing the string arrangement, I produced the whole record, and it became a really huge success. And then after this, I ended up just producing for a lot of renowned and successful artists in France.
Can you mention some?
No. So the reason why, I know this question is going to come anyway. First, it started as a joke. I'm not that old. So so when I did that first project, the guys of the band, they gave me a nickname. So I actually signed the credit of that first project with that nickname, just because I was playing in those classical orchestras. I was also teaching in a conservatorium in the suburbs of Paris. And I was teaching flute and solfège, and also studying in the Paris Conservatory. Before that, I also studied in Chambéry, where I grew up, then in Geneva, in London for a while. I did also musicology in Grenoble. So it's
because I was the place.
Yeah, because I was so young, I had a lot of time to study, and also I didn't have to do all the full courses because I had a lot of all the theory and everything. I covered it when I was really young. So I could do only the instrument classes or only the ensembles and the stuff like that. But Then I started to produce more, and then I was not so sure what I wanted to do musically. So I took 1 year first, just to take it a bit easy and to re-practice a bit, to find out what I wanted to do musically. That's why I came here. And then that 1 year sabbatical became 4 years. So
you thought, I'm going to take a year off, I'm going to go to Holland.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Yeah. Well, the reason why is because I wanted to study with one of the musicians of the Concertgebouw Orchestra. And so that's why I came here, because I wanted to focus a bit more on classical music again. The reason why I used the nicknames, that was the question. First it started as a joke, but then because I was doing so many different kind of productions, I started to use different nicknames per different projects.
Okay, so it's personal. It's not a right thing. It's a personal thing.
No, it's just a personal thing. Maybe I'm crazy.
Is this something you recommend for people who are trying to do different things, to use different nicknames?
For me, it works good, because what happened is that first, also, another reason why I kept doing it is because if I make a record with you, and I don't know what kind of music you make, but maybe you do, let's say, I imagine you make some rock stuff. And it's always a teamwork. And then we're going to connect and we're going to create something. And maybe it's great. And then people are going to Google the name because they like what we did together, but it says nothing what's going to happen on that other project, because it's different people, it's different music, it's different style. So for me to attach my name to the production itself, first of all, it doesn't make sense. 2, it's only attracting people that look for some kind of appearance thing. 3, the whole industry is full of ego and people dropping names all the time. They talk about, I know this guy is more to talk about themselves. So I thought I'm gonna stay away from that story, and I'm just gonna make music. And if I work on a project, of course, those people know I do it. So and then they talk to their friends, and it's way more organic. And then the ENGs with who I work on that project, they can connect me with some artists from their roster. For me, it's way more natural than using a name as a visit card. So on the creative side. And when I do more business stuff and whatever is different. But the music, it's such a personal process. And the way that I like to work anyway is that I like to try stuff because we sit in a room, we do a session or two, and if we vibe good and it works, then we make a project. But I also need to get a feeling about the situation, and this you don't get it from Google, from whatever. It's just you need to try stuff, and I don't have to bring what I do with other people in the discussion of what's gonna happen together. So,
But how do people find you?
Yeah, that's a good question, because if you, I get it why you're doing it, because of the creativity and stuff, and you don't want somebody else coming to you and saying, "Hey, I like what you did there. Can we do that?" You want to make a new thing with that person, and it has to come into existence.
Yeah, it depends on your story and on what you want. It's something we do together. So I really need the time to really connect and to tune into the people.
Yeah, but the other hand of this story is that it kind of also shoots yourself in the foot, because if it's a success,
I'm fine, man.
Yeah.
Which food?
I get it. Yes.
I'm doing great.
Okay. Yeah. So
for me, it's fine. Like it's never been a problem. And hey, you found me, right? You asked. So,
yeah, that's true. It's true.
And the people with who I work, again, like the people who have to know, like some A&Rs or people who do projects. First of all, I have more than enough work forever. So, and also I don't really have to do stuff so much. For me it worked.
So it's the people around you who find you, who already worked with you, maybe like some A&R people.
Yeah, I also meet people like every day, and then you connect, you have a good vibe, you have a coffee, and then you say, "Yo, should we try to make something together?" And and sometimes it's cool, and sometimes shit.
Yeah. So how does that translate in your job at Wisseloord? What do you do there?
So I have no idea, man. It's so many stuff. Like for me, it's really hard to explain because I just really stick to being myself. Yeah. So it's only things that I really, I just wake up and I think, okay, I have to do this, this, and that. And that's also because my whole life I've been building these connections, understanding. I had 2 studios. What I do.
You're owner, manager, right? That's one of your.
I'm owner, a CEO, and so first of all, Wisseloord is only it's only myself and the secretary on paper, and there are 2 shareholders, and one owns a part of the gear, one owns the stones, and I do the work, and the others are not connected to the industry and they are not involved in the daily operations. Then the studio is running a lot on volunteers and interns. So like right now there's maybe 15 people who work in the studio as volunteers, and they take care of the place. And then in exchange, I share my network and knowledge and connect them to the industry, but I also let them use the studio when it's empty. And like this, it also helps them with the tool to go to connect. So let's say somebody is more an engineer, and after 3 months he knows the place really good, and I say, okay, it's free in the weekend if you have one band and they want to record with you and everything, go. Like I give you the studio, or we do half or whatever. So my whole life I worked like I help you, you help me, and I think all of us as musicians, that's what we do, right? But at least that's what I do. And and actually, so the whole operation of the studio itself is running from those people. So I coordinate it. I choose the people. I try to create really a family kind of vibe. So so I rather keep people that I can vibe with, or that I like, or if we are really different, that I see their added value. So that building the team, it was one of the first things I've been starting when I came there, because it was a box with cables and stuff, but there were not so many people. So I had to start that culture, and that took some time. Then I talk a lot with all the labels, managers, publishers. I do all the offers because I know all the clients. it's really a weird thing, because a big part of the clients, they come because of the studio, and a lot of the clients, they come for each other, and a lot of clients, they come for me, or because it's friends, and so it's really all a bit interconnected. So, and it's not to say it's for me like this, but just for people to understand that it's really a people's business, and it's all because of that you help me kind of way of functioning. Then you get also people coming back, or who actually they don't have to record there, but then they still come to record there because you're working on another project together, and this time they have more budget, and so then they're okay to come here, or maybe they don't have so many budget, and then they will come to teach at the academy in exchange of some studio time, and that whole way of being flexible, that's my whole basic that's how I function. And so that's why it's really personal. And that's also why I became owner, because I cannot do this if it cannot be mine, because then I don't have that freedom. So that's why we made an agreement with the former owners, and that I took the direction. So it's not especially that I wanted to have a studio. I sold mine before, but now it just makes more sense because it's really so interconnected.
It's more of a place where you can get together. It's not like studio, get in there and just go all night making music, but also networking.
It's actually it's both. So
both.
I really function also in end. So it's still a studio that you can book per day or even per hour to come to record. From the studio side, the clients are really diverse. You have engineers who are clients, but you have also artists who are clients. You have people who come to shoot videos. A lot of times they come to shoot videos of music they made somewhere else, and then they fake behind the console.
Really?
Like that. Yeah.
Oh wow! Just for some images.
Yes, but
that's fine.
Yeah. How many people also who never worked in the studio come to make a picture behind the console?
Yeah.
Like I also really straight every time I ask them, like, if that's the image you want to show to people of someone that you're not, then okay, I understand that it looks cool, but you don't work here. So if you are really confident with what you do musically, you just show what you do here on the table, and it should talk by itself. So so that's another discussion. Probably I like this to be edited out. Like that's what I mean. I don't have a filter for that stuff. But there's a lot of bullshit like that. Like
we're not saying names. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You're smart. Yeah. But okay, I will have to think about that. So and then. Also, labels or publishers who organize writing camps. So those are the clients / hub. And to be honest, it's their studio. So I turned it around. So the KVK is my name, but it's the studio is being famous not because no one knows who was the owner back then, right? Like in the 80s, 90s. It's about the Rolling Stones thing and that kind of stuff. And that's what I tried to bring back. So because I'm a musician, I don't do this for the business. I'm successful enough that it became a business, but I just do this because I make music.
Yeah.
So, and when I was a kid, I was practicing because I was making music, and so it's really natural for me. So it's really hard to explain really how I do it, and then the team, so it's all the volunteers who run this, and there's. From the publishing company, there's a ENG manager who was my first intern who helped me to build it. And now it's in a position that it started from below the sea when I came in. It was not working so good. And now it's the first year ever I was making money in 15 years. And it's not just because of COVID. So it all happened mostly this year after I tried to build it for 2 years and I clicked up. Nice. And now I can employ those people who helped me to build it. And that's also why a lot of volunteers are helping, and and I'm also quite loyal. And also, if it makes sense in the ecosystem, then you want to keep the people around. Mm. And so it's also it's an opportunity that I'm sharing, like with whoever brings some cool ideas, and And I think, because I'm a musician, I think I'm also a bit creative. So if people come and they say, hey, should we try to do this? And I think, it's a really cool idea. Then we do together, and then you become a team, and then it's a work that's being created. And that's how I've been building the whole thing.
Great. And why did you do this in Holland? Why not? Because you had studio before, you said? In
I got
France?
a kid here.
You got a kid here?
Yeah.
That's the only reason. Like,
and I live here, yeah.
Could you do this in every country? Or is Holland really a place where you want to stay?
It's I would rather not ask myself that question because I don't really have a choice. Again, I have a kid here, but I'm happy. Doesn't matter so much. First of all, I also lived in different countries. I like my life, so I'm cool. It's a bit of a hassle to go back and forth to see my parents to France and everything. Mostly this year was not possible, but I'm cool here. Like the weather is great, the food is shit. The country itself, it's a bit boring, but I like my life. So, but I think wherever I would be, that's still what I would do because that's what I do. So
it's basically it doesn't really matter the location, but.
No.
So why did you sell that? Because of the kid. You sell the studios.
I cannot work in France so much, although I have my daughter half of the time and everything. So.
Yeah. So, but otherwise you wouldn't have sold them, and you would have done the same thing there.
I was already doing the same thing there.
Yeah.
Like it's actually I'm not really inventing anything new. I mean, a studio is a studio, and then connecting people. That's what you do here by inviting people to talk with you. Making music, that's what we all do, and putting it out. Maybe I have a bit more understanding because I've been working with labels and publishers for a long time, also mostly as a producer, giving lessons. That's what you also do, only I make it a bit more structural. So only I put it together in a way that I feel day per day how it should function. I think I do nothing different than most musicians.
That's great. That's cool. So it's like another podcast I was listening to is a guy who is like an angel investor, and he says always he would like to build he gives advice that he would like to build the skills to be successful, even if you drop, like if you go bankrupt, but then you can build it up back again. I guess that's just some basic stuff that you can do. I mean, it's not that you are setting out, okay, I want this and I want to have 10 million by the next year, and like a normal business, like setting goals like that. Or do you do that?
Both. Again, like my.
I guess.
I still want it to be a success and to make money and everything, but that's for me, it's not the motor.
No.
But.
Of course, you want to make money.
I like to eat and
but how can you
develop stuff?
How can you do if you do this? This is a build-up thing, right? So how can you do you also project those goals financially accordingly? So it's like
it's measurable.
Yeah. So you mean like, okay, we did this is what we did last year.
Yeah.
This is probably what we can do, maybe, and then if we are really successful, we do this. Okay.
Yeah. So the financial side like this, I also do.
Yeah.
Together with the accountant, and I discuss also with the other shareholders now and then. But let's say for a musician, I can count till more than 4. like that.
Yeah. Can do odd bars.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Nice. All right.
When people go to Wisseloord, mostly they want to record something. But how do you get in contact with all the other things that is going on in Wisseloord?
When is a good idea to come to Wisseloord?
Yeah, always. Like I'm really cool with people sending demos, even kids or whatever. First of all, there's no. How do you measure quality with music? It's like another whole podcast we can do for 6 hours. But I'm just always curious. So I really try to listen to everything that comes in. I get bad like maybe 10 of, let's say 15 demos per week, 20 CVs, and I really try to take the time to answer to people, and because somebody who's maybe 15 and is really fresh, but that already has a vision and everything, in few years, I have a lot of respect for this. So yeah, there's so much I can put in one day. But I'm always curious, and there's always, I get ideas, or I can also connect people. I say, okay, it's not doesn't make sense that you spend so much money in the studio now, but just record a demo with like a YouTube bit you can get some to start your process. I'm happy to give what I think is a good tip, and maybe. Yes, it's just what I think.
So if someone wants to record,
you can always reach out. There's few options. You can just book the studio, but then when there are also something that I found really interesting musically, I'm also sometimes happy to invest in it. There's also like,
how do you do that? How do you invest in that? So how does that go?
So the studio. When I give it away, it's an investment because there are costs. I mean, we have to pay the electricity, and it's not nothing's for free.
Yeah.
The engineers that do the recordings, everybody is freelancer for the project. So somebody sends me, when somebody wants, you have a band and you want to record in the studio, it's an email. Hello, can I book the studio to do a recording? And then I check with the people. Okay, what are you gonna do? What do you need? Then I try to help to make a plan that makes the most sense. If you record vocals, you don't have to be in Studio One in the big live room, which is more expensive. In the smaller studio is fine. And the pricing of the studio is also according to this, so that I try to make it that it works for every wallet, but also depending on your needs. And so I help in that thinking, what the people need. Sometimes the facility manager or some of the interns also take over a bit of the easy effort. Yeah, then you put a price to this, and then if people can finance it, is their product. And sometimes when I think, actually, with my connections and the relationship we have with BMG, so our publishing fund is with BMG, that's something that maybe I'd like to pay the engineer for, and I can give the studio for free, and that we can split on the publishing or the masters. If it makes sense for both parties, then that's something I'm open to discuss.
And when does that make sense? It's like it's
a combi. For me, I have a triangle of choices in life. With everything, is the quality of the creative side, from what I understand from the vision, the fun with the people, and the financial side. And I try to check 2 boxes. Mm-hmm. So. And then it's just a gut feeling.
It's either fun and financial, and then the quality doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Or quality and financial, and then the fun doesn't matter. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. And then in the end, it's also a feeling and also a bit of experience. Sorry, my phone is ringing.
Ooh, rookie mistake. Oh.
So, but now that things are growing a lot, I don't do this all by myself. So the A&R manager is also helping with all the choices of the creative project, and he's been here from day one. So he really understood what I had in mind with the culture, plus his own vision as well, and I also trust him in this. So the projects that I feel like that I can do something with that makes sense, or creatively, or also financially, or that's just going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. So demos, you can send your demos. Where do you send those demos?
Yeah. To every email from Wisseloord ends up somewhere to me. So info at wisseloord.nl or Malik at wisseloord.nl.
Cool. That's nice to know for the listeners.
But there's also like a lot of that stuff is on the website, the studios and the House of Music. It's on the production side. So what I said, like this, if I find some project interesting, but also we have writing sessions that we organize every day. So now there's a roster on more than 300 people that do writing sessions on a daily basis, not the 300 in one day. So the one who's taking care of the planning, we have that whole big database, and then a datum pricker, and people fill in the dates when they are available. And then we try, so that part I don't do anymore, so there's a whole team taking care of this now, to make groups that make sense, and we send some briefings, and then people can write songs for those briefings or for themselves. So the House of Music is a combi between the projects that we produce, but also all those writing sessions that are in partnership with all the conservatories. So Amsterdam, Haarlem, Utrecht, Leeuwarden, Tilburg, Haarlem, as I already said, Rotterdam. And those schools, they send their students to do writing sessions, and then we pitch the tracks.
So is it only the students from those
No,
schools?
also,
Or can anyone just join
so
them?
there's not anyone, so I still want to have a bit of a control.
This is for the writing camps.
Those are the writing sessions on a daily basis, and sometimes we have writing camps, which are like a group, but around one project more focused. There's also, I just made a deal with the French government. They will send some songwriters and producers in blocks between 3 to 6 weeks in residence in the studios. If this works out, then it will extend to more countries.
Cool.
So you have all the people from the conservatories. You have guys like actually whoever sent some demos and passed the filter of, okay, I'm okay to put you in a room with other people. Because I also try to protect that everybody's happy. If you come in a session and there's somebody who's really, really terrible, like you will have paid 75 euros for nothing. So I try to make sure that there will be a good level. Shit can happen because I don't have control on the click between people, but I hub the people together.
So what kind of things do you check them online to see what kind of things?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the whole team who takes care of the planning now, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's 4 people who take care of that organization. So the writing sessions, you come in, let's say it starts at 10 o'clock after you got your invitation from your datum pricker, blah, blah, blah. And then you receive a briefing, and you meet each other for half an hour, you drink coffee, you discuss about what you do musically, and then you decide what you do. It's your session, it's your music, so no one of us has to say anything about what you do. We connect you, so you have to agree. So I think just this is already a crazy lesson for most of the people who participate, because you have to try to be creative with people you don't know and everything. As a producer, I think for me that's a must to be able to do this, because to have that feeling of how to navigate in a session with people, that's 90% of producing. How to handle communication and everything, and so that's why I created like this, because I think I find it really important. And so you agree on what you're gonna do. It can be for the briefing. You make a track. If it's not good, then it goes to the trash. Like if you during the session you have a split sheet where you write your splits between all the participants, is to make sure you don't have an argument between yourself. The people who come from the conservatories, we do not touch the copyrights, because I think it's weird if a school sends some people. So the schools are paying for those students to join, and then the other people, they pay 75 euros. But then we make an agreement that if we find a placement somewhere, then we would be the publisher of your copyrights from the writer for one song, for that one song.
So the third of the publishing.
Of the publishing, exactly.
All right. And just the one thing in between, like how would you, for instance, like a producer or a musician, you ask what kind of people do you ask to come there, or how do you even get in consideration by you?
Also sending an email and some tracks, and
sending them.
Hey, I heard about the writing sessions, and can I join? And then I answer, can send some music. Like I don't need CVs. Like the same thing that I don't think the name. Like, first of all, I don't read CVs. Like the same with the interns. I just want to hear music.
Yeah.
So and then send some tracks, and if we think with the team that's cool or that will fit or everything, then you can join the sessions. And this also lands that few people with who the relationship works really good when they join the sessions and they pay the fee per session. Then like the relationship publisher and writer, I think it has to really match. So it's not that you're not trying to sign somebody and then you cannot do anything. Then you're gonna complain that I'm not a good publisher, and then I'm gonna complain like that you don't write good songs and everything. So it's really a match. So that's actually a great way to see how those relationships are gonna work. And then there's few people that we signed exclusively in our publishing. So tomorrow is we sign a new one actually.
Okay, and but like, are those all producers or musicians?
Every people make music.
Yeah. Okay.
So the producers, songwriters, lyricists. Just I look for talent. Like,
How can you prepare yourself if you want to join a writing session?
Good one. Actually, that's what we work on in the academy. By working with other people, like and being. Yeah, first of all, you have to be a really musician and you have to be creative. And I think what I like about that really practical stuff is that there's no way to hide behind stories or whatever. It's like, then it's just about the music. And lots of people, they have big stories and I could do this, I could do that. Yeah, okay, then just do it. So, and then I just want to hear the tracks. And if you make cool tracks, I don't care how you do it actually. Like, doesn't matter. Yeah.
But you kind of give guidance in the academy for this.
Yeah, definitely. And on few different levels. So on the creative side, but also on the experience side, and also on the understanding of the industry and the business side, and also, of course, all the connections that the marriage between Wisseloord network and place in the industry, and my own network and my own place in the industry. That's why it made sense that it works together.
Yeah.
And then this is all shared with all the people that I invite to give classes and everything. And that's also really bringing a lot of opportunities for the participants. I don't like so much to say students, because look, with music, let's say you will come to some classes, some stuff you can develop from the other teacher, but you can also teach to us some other stuff. So it's linear. So and the students are also teaching to each other. So if you're interested, I can tell you how the classes are built.
Sure.
I don't know if you want to talk about it now or whatever.
Yeah.
So on Mondays are all the creative lessons. So songwriting, harmony, ear training, understanding all the ingredients that are used for cooking music. So and of course you go less in depth than if you go 4 years to an academic school, like a conservatory or something like this, because it's a year thing. That said, you can take the creative lessons. You can go for the rest of your life. So it's just like piano lesson. You can go forever. So I go to a lot of classes just when this guy is teaching or this one is teaching, because it's super cool to learn from the different people. So on Mondays are all those classes. And you might hear, when you already did a conservatory, you might know what is a pentatonic scale, but it doesn't mean you can make cool stuff with it. So there were a few students who fell a bit on their nose. So the students are really diverse. Some people are beat makers who learned at home on YouTube, and they have no idea what they do, but they make crazy stuff. Some people are artists, some people are really trained musicians, some people are already professionals, and everybody is good at something and less good at something else. So next to the fact that everybody can inspire to each other, then I invite more successful teachers and lecturers to share and all those ingredients for cooking. So Mondays are the creative lesson. Wednesday, it alternates every 2 weeks. So there's 1 week I invite somebody from the field, publisher, Buma, labels, bookers, managers, A&Rs, but also some artists. and so it was like lectures of like 4 hours, and in general the first 2 hours the guys from the field talk about what they do, and then the next 2 hours is the students can show what they do to those participants, and that's creating a lot of opportunities for the students. And actually I'm quite proud of this, because I think that's something that a lot of more traditional schools are a bit failing, including myself. When I studied, that was the reason why I studied so long, is because I was not too sure how I was going to start to make some money, and then you learn a lot of great skills in some schools, but in the end you don't learn to be your own company and to connect to people and to network and to really become a business.
So that's a big part of the academy, is becoming a business also.
And that's actually really organic, because the industry is in the middle of it. Everybody is client of the studio or hanging at the coffee machine or at the restaurant. So the people are here, and then they just let some people who want to build a career and connect them together and create that platform for the people to network. So it was actually quite easy to do. Only no one did it.
Yeah.
And that's really creating a lot of opportunities for people who get internships or get signed or get releases for a few tracks with this one. Also, some producers ended up doing sessions with some of the artists that I invited to do lectures and everything. I'm super proud of this.
Cool.
And so that's on Wednesday every 2 weeks. And then the other week is the moment where the students are actually teaching to each other. So you're in a room with like 4 or 5 of you or something like this. And then for 1 hour, it's like, okay, show me your tracks. Okay, what did you do? Okay, I think, did you try this or that? Because I can share what I do. Then next hour, we work on my stuff. And then you're going to tell me what I cannot do. Because, you play bass, right?
I play trumpet and
trumpet,
bass.
sorry,
Also bass.
Yeah. And what do you do?
Also bass. Yeah.
Yeah, so look, I don't play bass. And probably you can help me with some bass lines or maybe some production stuff. And I can help you with some other stuff. So that's what I mean, is really about working together. And the teachers are canalizing a bit that process so it doesn't get too messy. And the same day, the students get one-on-one coaching. So you're in that room with few people, and then you come out, and then you go to talk to that engineer who's from the teachers, and then you go to talk to the lyricist, and then you talk to that A&R from that label. And so that's the one-on-one attention. That's the Wednesday, and then Saturday is about production. And there's 1 week laptop production, DAW. There are 3 levels. So because some singer-songwriters are writing crazy songs, but they are beginner at producing. So everybody is good at something and starting at something else. And what I like is that this removes the ego. And then in the end, you're in that safe bubble of just trying stuff. And that, another thing that I'm quite proud of, is that it really comes through in the music that is really personal. And compared to a lot of, again, more academic schools where you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this, you have to do that, which is, I understand the logica, because there are programs, because it's funded by the government, and you have to do this, and they have to give some results from their bosses. But I don't have this. I can just focus on the creative side. And the way that the academy is based on mostly is like, actually, what do you do? And what do you want to do? And maybe I can help you to make it better, and this teacher, and we can help you to do what you want to do. And it's really different than a lot of more traditional schools.
That's great.
And
I always thought that was a big thing lacking at those schools.
Yeah.
Because you get really cool lessons, like a instrument lesson or something. But it misses a personal touch. So what do you want to do?
Yeah, exactly. And
instead of going like, okay, this is what we want you to do. So what do you want to do?
Yeah. And then so to finish the classes, so Saturday there's 1 week the DAW classes. I mean, it's just Ableton, Logic, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
First, work on getting sure that you have all the knowledge of production, and then I invite some really successful producers who show what they do from different styles. So 2 weeks of a reggaeton guy who does the tracks of Ronnie Flex, and then 2 weeks of more dance somebody. So it's really diverse from all styles. And then it gets more and more to your own tracks and making sure they get ready for release, and then can get some tips to How do you market it? Who could help you to release it and everything?
Yeah.
And so that's Saturday every 2 weeks, and then the other week is more about sound, so not so much about music anymore. So that's the whole thing. People see Wisseloord as that thing of sound, but actually it's only a small part of the academy. So because I don't want to be in engineering school, there are plenty of it, next to the fact that because I'm a musician, I think the function of the engineer, sure, it is still important, but because the tools are so easy nowadays, it's less of a thing. So unless you want to be an engineer on radio or TV, I think for music, the technical side is important, but I don't find it like the motor. And so that's more about sound, analog recording, mixing, and stuff like that. So that will make that your production also sound more finished and professional. And these are all kind of modules. So you don't have to do the whole thing. You can do only the classes of Monday, or only the classes of the business stuff, or only the recording, the engineering side. And so so the academy is only 1 year, right? And now we are doing the intakes for the next year. And because it's booming, like a big part of the students of first year are going to go on next year. So it means it should be kind of good. So that was reassuring
But
for me.
it's only 1 year, the whole.
No, that's what is the modules. So when you buy a module, it's for 30 weeks. So it's like one school year.
Okay.
And but the creative lessons, what I say, you can go for the rest of your life.
And
the DAW, at some point after you did the 3 levels, you've seen it, you know how to make a beat or do whatever you want to do. So some stuff you can learn because it's measurable, and some stuff is emotional. So you don't limit this.
Yeah.
And so now I'm also starting new modules, some DJ classes. It says what it is. Some instrument classes, but not to be a session drummer or whatever, because the more academic schools, they do this great. But more as a creative tool from an artist point of view or from a producer's point of view. So it's like 2 weeks drums, 1 week guitar, 2 weeks piano, 3 weeks bass, and then back and forth. And then you touch all the instruments, so that as a creative, you can actually play a bit of everything. And then you choose what you want to develop further and everything. Yep. So it's more instrument on a creative tool sense more than to be an expert as a drummer or as a bass player. And so that's a new module. And there's also band coaching, which is a new module that's for full bands that want to give guidance on the total project. And there's also the live development, live artistry development, I think it's called. And that's about all those tracks that you write and you create. How do you bring them outside? And it goes from simple stuff on how to do sound check and whatever, but also your whole look and feel. Who are you as an artist? If you're a singer, do you play with a backing track and a DJ, or with like a hybrid band, or with a band, and then guide people to make that their whole live aspect is actually rock solid and is well constructed. Also media training. I think lots of people don't have a really good self-image of who they really are and how they come across, including myself. I think everybody has this a bit. So, and to sometimes get a reality check. Like there are some people, they dream to be, and it's a balance, because you can dream to be that big artist, but if you're super shy, there's a long way to go before to get there. I don't say it's not doable, but to have like feedback from other people can be really helping. So that whole thing, we do like live sessions, like tiny desk concert kind of stuff that's filmed, recorded, and then you can look at it back and what does it look like and what are the lights, the colors, making mood boards. That whole reflection of how you bring your music outside to others, because you can make music. That's one of the first thing I asked to the participants is like, actually, why are you here? Like, and most people, they say, yes, because I love to make music. Okay, great. But why do you want other people to hear it? Like, and a lot of time it's ego. And that, if that's the base, I don't think it's going to work out. Like, and if it's more healthy, then it's great to want to share it. And that, or some artists do have also to have that ego or narcissism to get the
Yeah, but it's like an extra level, not just for like, I make music and I feel good about it, but more like Prince, like ego level.
Yeah. Every artist has an ego, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. But it's really important, but it's also important to discuss about it and to work on it. And there's quite some classes about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And because it's also not tackled so often in more traditional thing, but there's, as a producer, when you work with an artist, you work with this about that like all the time. Inside a band, there's why half the bands are splitting all the time is because of this.
Yeah.
So it's an important factor to be that you have to be aware of. And
like these are all people who are already doing like what you're saying. Like they already are in. They want to do something. They come to you and want to get better, right?
Yes.
Or do they start from like the beginning? Like,
it's all mixed up.
Like, it's all mixed up. Yeah. Okay. Because what are you doing for those people? For those the starting artists?
The same thing. They learn from each other. Well, they're starting. Like I need to even what I mean. Like a lyrics on your phone it can say a lot. Even if you are like 13 years old or singing just on your phone. So I don't need to have like a finished production and 5 release or whatever. So there are some people who are like this, who have finished conservatory or are studying in other schools and doing this in the same time, or people who have bands, or people who have studios, or whatever. But there's also a few younger people. So the youngest is 16, and the oldest is like, how old is she? I think she's 41 or something. And there's also people who are, their whole life were, so there's different categories. There's a whole bunch of, let's say, 16, 25, and some people already make a lot of music by themselves. Maybe they didn't learn, or they learned by themselves. And if I'm really honest, like there's people who didn't learn anything and they make great stuff. And what is good is how to measure. But yeah, I can get a feeling from somebody even at the early stage, and that's what I look for. Like,
so, do you have like a success story from someone who wasn't schooled very like
or just some cool stories? Just to be
in general.
There's one girl we signed by Universal Music Denmark. There's quite some people who got internships
after the school.
There's quite some people who got signed by publishers. A lot of most of the people. Now let's say there's one good third who is really getting somewhere, and to doing more writing sessions and get some cuts with different publishers and stuff like that. So it does create some really serious opportunities to people, or to make tracks for. So there's Amsterdam, who is also a partner, Popronde. I cannot go through the whole list of who is coming to give classes. A big part of the Dutch industry, and this year I'm gonna make it more because I was starting from there was nothing, and actually in 1 year it became like, first I took only 20 participants because I was careful what was gonna happen with the studio. Then it became 43. In September I expect between 70 and 100 people coming from all kinds of countries. So it's quite 1/4 is coming from abroad. We're talking to the gemeente to build some housing, and also connecting with all the international writing camps, what I mentioned earlier. So it's like a whole big bubble of stuff, and it's really interesting. There also there were some guys who came in from the interesting stories. There's few really nice surprises musically for me. So, there's 2 students actually who didn't know they could sing at all, and one guy was making some tracks like really mainstream Chainsmoker kind of pop stuff and everything. And then there's this student who comes to say, "Come, you have to come. This motherfucker, he can really sing like crazy and everything." And and now he's really making his own project where he's producing and singing and everything, because he felt safe to try stuff. And that's actually really nice to see. And there's more people like that. One guy from Bonaire who was just making lo-fi hip-hop beats, and now he started rapping, and you don't know what you hear. So we are looking if we can set him sessions in New York to connect with some producers and everything. Those are, on the creative side, are the really beautiful stories, and then on the business side of the people who got nice internships or get some releases or they start to do more and more sessions. I'm signing 2 people in my own publishing because the relationship works, and I'm connecting other people to other publishers.
Do you do that a lot, signing people yourself?
No, not so.
Are you guys a label actually? How is it? How is
No,
that?
we have publishing fund. So together with BMG, and so we assign writers and producers. I don't know if you know the difference between a label or publishers. There's a really different.
Yeah.
Well, for the people who don't know, maybe it's good to explain.
They can join the classes of Wednesday, but in short, it's also like I am happy to explain, but and also is pretty complex.
Just
But
a short.
in short, okay. So if I write a track and you record it and you're the artist, is 2 different intellectual property. And by writing, I mean also the composing. And the songwriter, the composer is publishing, so it's the copyright, and then you have the master right, which is the physical product of the song that's being produced. So so because you can take my song and make 2 different projects out of it, 2 different songs, different productions. So it can have different masters, and then actually most of the time I get nothing as a writer on the production, so the Spotify money, and that part is more from the Buma side, like in real short. And
But that's not really. That is more like royalties. But what does a label do instead of a publisher?
Yeah, a publisher. What does a publisher do? So a publisher normally is here to help you as a writer to write more, to create content, so connect you into all kind of sessions, so that you meet people, that you can get tracks being written, so that they can be produced and released. The process is getting closer and closer because nowadays in a session, the track is often written and produced in the same moment because you have a laptop producer, and with pop mostly like that. It's different than if you make an opera. And but so the publisher is here to help you as a writer, composer, producer to create sessions. Then is here to administrate your copyright and the whole legal stuff that you actually don't want to do by yourself, and actually you cannot do by yourself unless you can hire lawyers by yourself. And then there's like the whole syncing part. Also, there's pitching of the songs that you write, and is
To
artists,
brands?
to brands, to whatever sessions, and then there's the syncing part, which is connecting songs to Netflix series, TV commercials, whatever, like more media-related kind of things in rough. So that's the publisher. And then the label is here to create the master. Because
they pay.
So they finance it or not. A lot of times there's a discussion because when the publisher organizes a writing camp and the track is being produced here, they're actually paying for the part of the label. So the last few years, it's a whole discussion.
That's why you have lawyers, right?
Yes, or not. Actually, it's blurry. It's really a blurry zone. And that's why you have to work in trust with people. And then the label is here to finance production and then release. In the past, it was completely a must because if you wanted to get your CD in a shop, you couldn't really do it by yourself. Now that part is less because you can put your track out by yourself, mostly digitally. And then there's the whole marketing, and then there's the connection, the artist development, everything. It's more your team also as an artist.
The label is more your team.
But the publisher is also your team as a writer, composer, and that's how I think that the way that I look at the relationship musicians and industry partners is really a teamwork. Well, for a long time I had, and that's also something I'm quite proud at the Academy, because there's a lot of people that think, the industry is like, they just want to take your masters, your copyrights and everything. But first of all, if they take 50% or even more % out of zero, still zero. So and otherwise you would have 100% of zero. So you build a team that all together you're gonna try to create value to stuff. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, and in the end it's just people, and it's not, and that big thing of watch out your contracts and everything. I think it's more healthy to be informed, to understand what are the parameters, and then you can have a healthy discussion with your future team on what do we think is going to be a fair split, if it becomes a success or if it's not a success, and because that in the end is really hard to know. And what is a bad deal? So let's say you make a track and then you have 100% of it, and then you put it out, it makes €0, or you do 50-50, and then this one is been putting a lot of money on the table, and then it generates that is a flop. Then it's a bad deal for the label. But then if it becomes a success, the same deal is actually a bad deal for you. But it's not that someone tried to screw the other. It's just that you cannot predict what's going to happen up front.
Yeah, it's just a risk.
It's a risk that people take. And when people, and to understand this, and then next track, then you make a different agreement, or you can discuss kickbacks or whatsoever. But that's like, I think, a more healthy way of thinking and understanding what is business relationship with industry partners than like, oh, I have to watch out and they are taking my rights and they're taking my masters. You can keep it, but if it's worth nothing, and also what can you do with it? It's super complex.
50% of zero is still
still zero.
Still zero.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not scared. I prefer to work with people instead of being scared of the relationships.
So we're talking a lot about working with other people.
I think I'm gonna die.
Yeah, sure. I think a lot of people do everything by themselves, like a DIY artist. Do you have some tips for them?
Great. Well, if it goes good, then it's fine. But there's so much time in one day. So I think it's good up till a certain point. Like at some point, like if you're not an expert at something, in a band you can also play everything, but you can also ask a drummer who plays better than you to play. And it's the same with your whole career. Yeah, you can do you're releasing tracks. It's not so hard to make ads on Instagram and Facebook. Like you watch 2 tutorials, you can do it. But then you can also hire somebody who is good at it, and that's what he does every day. He's probably going to do it better than you. Sometimes not, but and then here you have a marketer, and then you can do your bookings. Everybody can do a lot by themselves, but to team up with people who are expert at it, I think it just multiplies your effort.
How do you think about the notion that today it's more about creating a community around your artist than getting good marketing, getting a really, really high-end sounding thing for the radio, blah, 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 blah. But it's more about focusing on like, for instance, getting your getting lots of content out so that people start following because of you. That's what you see with lots of YouTube. For instance, Dodie. I don't know if you guys know it, but it's she started on YouTube, just starting her journey as an artist, and she grew a lot in that stuff on YouTube, and then released her album, and it was like it was a while ago, but all the labels, and they were like, what the fuck's happening? We never seen this girl, and she's already selling tens of thousands of CDs and getting lots of streams. So
sold CDs?
Yes,
okay.
Actually,
but can people still have CD players? Or?
Yeah, I guess lots of merch and stuff.
Okay,
but I mean, the thing is that she was never on the radar anywhere. And she built up her audience first, and then dropped. So it doesn't really matter. You see that with, like, I don't know if you guys are a bit into prize fighting, but they're like Logan Paul fighting Mayweather and stuff. He never fought. He never fought anybody, and he's fighting the best guy in the world.
Okay.
Like,
I don't know.
Yeah.
But how did she build her following then?
By just putting out regular content.
Okay, like that. But no, was it she put regular music and
no, not music,
just other content.
Other content, about music, about her.
So this can double flame, because I did work with quite some big influencers. Sometimes it works, sometimes actually so far, like most of the time, not.
So what do you mean with work by?
What
I'm talking about an artist doing this. So the people who come to your academy, they work on their own channels. Like they work on documenting their journey. They work on,
like that. Okay, sorry. Okay, I thought you meant
creating
building
content.
base with content that's nothing to do with the music itself.
It can be. You can do a challenge like I'm gonna create a song on a rooftop or something, and then it's not the song. It's that you do it on a cool place.
What I mentioned now is that I did work with some influencers that were doing lifestyle or something completely different with hundreds of thousands of followers, and then when they put music on, everybody liked the post. But to make the move to go to check the song on Spotify is a big step further.
Yeah. No, I don't mean that because
this happens
that's marketing. That's like if you are like a neo soul kind of jungle vibey. That's your whole thing, and you go to someone who really is into jungle plants and is a big influencer in there. That might be a good connection, just because of those people might like also jungle plants, I don't know, but that's what I mean. I mean, like it's very much more specific on the person itself. It might be that they only have 100 followers, but they buy everything they bring out, like the 1,000 follower super fans idea. But what do you think about that? Because what you're talking about is like an adaptation of the old ways into a new form, right? In a new jacket.
So actually that whole part, like for the marketing and everything, we have a partner that takes care of our own marketing. Yeah. But actually there's few people. I don't know if I can mention and if I should mention names or anything, but there is one whole company that helps on the whole targeting and the data analyze of the releases and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. From also our own marketing, but also for the artists that because we do the publishing, but we did a couple of releases and then I put it on hold because I have a new quite big project coming up and we will do the release and we will also do the marketing without wanting to be a label, but just
so that's kind of label-y, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it's like a label service. Let's say it like that. From still the Wisseloord core, and but with investing in marketing.
Is there any plans to become more like to grow in the label side?
It's on the to-do list. But there's 24 hours per day, and actually, also it happens organically, because what I hope for is that it makes sense because the people that are in-house and that they grow there and they're part of that hub and everything, they are making music, right? And they're gonna put it out. And sure, they can do it by themselves, but it's I don't know. I don't like it to put my tracks and do the statement and the whole administration part and the blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So and if we can have a structure that's taking care of this organically, then we do some label activities. Part of the total.
That's
picture.
great, but then the whole thing is like
first I have to make the content and the cool music.
Yeah,
that's what I do first, and then I'm happy to have a structure that helps the people to take care of that part of the put it out and do the marketing and analyze. I already have the team for this, and only I didn't push the button for which projects to put on, but it's on the to-do list for around the last trimester with one first big project.
Yeah. So do you know a guy called Gary Vaynerchuk? No. Is a guy who talks about doing these micro content, like the writer of the book Jab, 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 Right Hook. I don't know. It's a marketing book, and he talks about doing a lot of social media as artist, as everybody. Like even if you work for somebody, you should do that if you like it, and that's kind of the point I'm trying to talk about because. Even if somebody else takes over, you still have to do it yourself because you are the one making the content. Yeah. It might not be that you're not. Maybe there's a company that can optimize it for Instagram and TikTok and but still, it needs to be cool content, and it doesn't need to be really high-end content. It can be just you talking about something and whatever.
True. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the content it has to stay core to the origins. But if you have people around you that understand the message and the culture, and what you do,
but it's pretty hard for like if you have 100 students, right, to do that.
For all the separate students.
Yeah, but like that's why I asked about the label.
And that will not be for everybody.
No.
It will be just the same than with the publishing. Just few people that makes sense. Also, a lot of the students are not ready to release music. So I think it's only when it makes sense, and it's not that it doesn't have to be connected, huh? And I think it's better if it's not always connected.
Yeah. So this is more like I'm talking also a bit more about the house of music. I'm talking about the whole Wisseloord thing.
Because the academy again, it's really separate.
It's separate,
and it's a different company first of all, and also it has to stay separate. Otherwise, it's not. Then it doesn't make sense.
Okay, but you talked about that they do get publishing things. It does happen.
Yeah, it does happen.
All right.
Sure.
So how does it?
It's not simple. There's a few other students who might be a bit jealous and everything or whatever, but I'm super open about it. And in the end, it's also a reality check. And those some people are not ready to have their tracks on. They are not ready as a writer or as an artist and everything, and it can be painful. But hey, that's the real world, and I think a lot of schools are also overprotecting, and then in the end, it's not really helping people too much because when they finish with their diploma, and then what? Like, actually nothing. Yeah, you can teach. It's difficult to make a living, and it's bad being transparent. And at least we are super transparent.
Yeah.
And then some. So it's all explaining to people why this one it makes sense, and also the people who got signed in the publishing also because it made sense. But all the publishers, so BMG has a studio in the building, Warner Chappell has a studio in the building. All the publishers are clients of the studio. So it's still that Wisseloord is really neutral. So we talked many times with like some partners that. Also because as a producer, I also work with everybody. So it's like Switzerland. So I have my own business, but still really connected with all the others. And then it's about which one makes sense. It depends on the creative side. What are the networks of that publisher? What's their backend? But also who are their ENRs? It's such an emotional business. The style of music, everything. So I would never just sign somebody when he would be better with another publisher because it doesn't make sense.
No, okay. So, and what is the style of your like BMG is your partner, right?
Yeah.
So what's their style?
It's mostly pop
music,
but also quite some urban.
Yeah.
So like right now we have 3 people signed exclusively. There's one urban producer, one Dutch pop songwriter, and one producer who is a bit more off center. Like so, it's but still pop music. There's no jazz or stuff like which. It's all connected to opportunities and relationships. So let's see how things keep on developing. If I make one day get a great deal with something that can create output for jazz music, then it makes sense. So that's what it's like a relationship. So and that's
still developing. The
whole everything is developing.
Yeah.
Well, I meet people every day.
Yeah. So. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So pop music is the one where you make most money. Let's say it like that. How do you feel like niche markets and?
You mean from the publishing or from?
Actually, all kinds of sides.
No, there's like a lot of. Studio 2, there's a lot of indie bands who are recording. Like, actually, most of it. Like
indie bands, like Dutch indie, you mean?
Yeah, pop rock Dutch.
Yeah.
So there's also a couple of producers that crowd would never be there before, but now, seeing the pricing of the studio and everything, like, this is really tackled. There's a lot of bands who come to record. Mostly this year, it was really... I was really happy about that. So that it's really diverse. You have, lots of urban producers, from the Project Money to Frena to Ronnie Flex to all those guys. Ronnie was just like a whole week now and everything. Those people would never come to Wisseloord before. Now they are there almost every night. and then you have more the mainstream pop artists, whatever that means, because mainstream, you can be mainstream for a while and then you're not mainstream anymore. But
or something becomes mainstream. Right?
Yeah, also, so it's moving all the time. It's also really weird to put stuff in block like this, but our projects that are signed with majors, let's say it like that. So those clients also come when they have a need for. It can be also for videos or for whatever, but and also like a lot of more indie producers, even guys who have their own studio and then they want. One time they need a bigger room, or one time they want to be in a different surrounding because of the project. So it's way more open. But there's one thing for sure is that it's a place where people can come, but it's not that you can never force musicians to go anywhere. I also do a lot of productions somewhere else, like at home, including or whatever. So and that freedom, I understand it. So I would, it's more you work together with people sometimes, but it's really cool if you work somewhere else another time, because we all need as creatives to have that freedom.
All right.
So at least it's genre independent.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, actually, whoever wants to join, and then we look at the possibilities together. It can be a booking, or again, it can be something I invest in if I see an interest. Yeah, I already mentioned this.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's. I think we should go to the part where we always ask the same question, because if you're a starting artist or band,
It's warm, man.
yeah, you're getting questions
Like
are
that.
getting to you.
No,
Not really.
Yeah, it's just warm.
Great. Okay. Cool.
That lamp. That's in my face.
Yeah. So that question. So if you're a starting producer or artist or whatever, or a band, and you have €100, what would you buy?
A producer or writer? It depends what you do. Music. At first.
Then we do the producer, band, and artist.
I'm actually really happy to answer that question, but the way that I function, to be able to, then I would say, okay, show me your music, and then depending where you are, then I would tell you, okay, maybe just try to improve your sounds. So get an abutment at Splice so you get better samples, because now it sounds like demos. Or if the production is great and the mix is shit, then I would say this. Or if it's ready to put it out. So it's really hard to tell.
Okay.
So I would really take the time to really look.
That's the same for bands, producers, whatever. That's
I cannot answer if I don't see what's in your kitchen.
All right. Okay. Let's say that it's a starting thing. Like somebody is really started, like a demo. Then somebody who is a little bit better, and somebody who's ready to release.
I need to hear something.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do it. Like, do you have tracks? Show me a track, and because I'm happy to but like it's not that I don't know what to answer.
Okay. All right.
But we don't have a track.
Do people answer to that stuff actually?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, I'm not able. Like, because for me it would go against my way of thinking.
Yeah.
Like, I need to really see what you do so I can tell you the best thing for yourself.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I push a block on you. It doesn't.
It is true. No, but you could say, for instance, some people say, well, it's really important to get. Yeah. No, it's really important to get like your visuals, or maybe just hire. If you're a band, maybe just invest in writing, getting a rehearsal place or something like this.
Facebook promo.
Yeah, but €100 is not so much money. So
no, that's why.
So out of respect for, then I would tell you what I think you have to do first.
Yeah.
And if your visuals are better than your tracks, then it's. Okay. I wouldn't know what to answer.
Would it be different if we say €10,000?
But like all those points you talk about, everything has to be on point. It has to be in sync. So you have to look at all the ingredients together.
Yeah.
And then the one that's the least, then you have to push. And it also depends on, it's also a thing of a momentum. If you already have, if you have great tracks and you have 0 followers, then you try to push on this. If you have, if you make music that should be played live, And also you have to look at the financial side as well. Like what's going to help you to make maybe from those €100 that it becomes 200 so that you can do it again. So if I'm really honest to myself, I really need to look in your kitchen to give a good answer.
So that's a great answer.
That would be like they have to show you some demo or something, and they should invest in making the demo as good as possible.
No, or even a phone record. You have to actually to show me what you have on the moment, because then I can look at the picture. You're here, and then I can advise you on what I think that maybe can help you to go a step further. And maybe I'm wrong, but if you ask my feedback, then I give you my feedback. Yeah. Actually, I do this every day. I get a lot of people sending me emails with that stuff and everything, and then I try to find the time to really give the more honest answer. And it's really different for everybody. Some people, they have great social media, but their music is nothing or not interesting and whatever. Then it's really, And they're on the same phase of their career. And some people make great stuff from their laptop and it's not mixed, no nothing, and they have no fans. Then I will try to say, okay, maybe, case per case.
What would you say about that then in that case?
Then I would look if somebody really shy. I would look if it's somebody who should play live or not, of what the person wants to do. And if somebody, I'm not gonna say spend €100 sending demos to bookers if you don't want to play live. I really need to look at what you want to do.
All right. And if you do want to play live, like what is the difference if you want to play live?
What depends on the style of music. Some music is gonna make sense live. Some music maybe less. And then it's also if you want to get revenues from this, or if you want to get first revenues from releases. So then it's a whole strategy that you build, and that. So I don't do this all just by myself. So there's also people who give lessons at the academy and part of the House of Music, who are also some freelancers who are specialists as this, and also a few of them do work in bigger labels. So on a freelance basis, we hire them to look at project per project and making a total plan per project. But pushing a plan into somebody and something really creative like this, it doesn't add up in my brain. So I wish I could answer to your question, but
it's a great answer. I think it's more about like very specific to a person.
Yeah, it's so personal.
Yeah.
Then I'm curious about the next one. What would you write on a billboard in the center of a city?
My phone number.
Good one.
I don't know. Like,
or maybe someone else's phone number.
But like music related or life related.
Let's say.
For me, it's so everything connected. Like, I'm really I bug like with those kind of questions, because I would switch, because what's the most important is to be really true to yourself, because then you're gonna be more happy. Probably for me that's just do your best.
Just do your best on the billboard.
Try to stay true to yourself, and that you get. But that works also for the music. Like, but some people also get successful by not staying true to themselves. But also, what do you measure as successful? I can tell you what I try to tell myself every day, and then I would want to read this on the billboard for myself.
Sure.
But I don't know if it's true.
Yeah.
Something like this, that I try really to be close to myself, and to stay really honest with myself and the people that are around me. And
that's great.
Otherwise, that's such part of my DNA and how I want to be.
Would you what advice would you give yourself, like your younger self, your 12-year-old, just finished
the practice less
conservatory?
Practice a bit less.
Oh, really?
No, I should have went to therapy younger. It would have saved me a lot of of a high standard. Again, like I was not always like super self-confident, or and I had like a lot of stuff to process and everything for myself, and I think that now I feel really good in my shoes and like rock solid, and actually I don't really care so much about outside stuff, so I feel really in balance, and that's something I could have started like earlier, and I think that confidence also is also helping me to move in a way that feels right and to connect nice with people. And I think it also comes back. So, and I think that's also why I'm doing like okay, and yeah. So yeah,
Nice.
at this I would have worked on processing my background and everything like a bit earlier. Like,
We got some.
okay, hold on. Let me drink.
Yeah, sure. We are curious.
Quickly before you. Okay.
You're
So,
curious, yeah? About
So we're curious what kind of things you think are awesome. Like, can you recommend some musicians, some bands, some things you think people should check?
Okay, so this is like a super complex question for me. Everybody also asks me first of all what kind of music I make, and then what kind of music I like. And I'm not really wired like this. So because I find stuff interesting on so many different levels. I can hear like that you send me a track of yours, and then I will think, oh shit, the melody is like crazy. Like it's such a great melody, but the singing is really shit. Or I don't like it. So I separate stuff, I think, in boxes. I don't know if it's autism or whatever. But I'm kind of wired like this. It also helps me to navigate quite good and to be logical, I think. But so I do see interesting stuff in mostly musically, because I'm so trained, I can deconstruct. And that's also why I think as a producer I can construct, because I can really listen to all the ingredients really separately. And I think it's the same between the studio, the academy, the stuff like this. It's all kind of boxes for me. I really see clear all the connections, and that's why I can connect it. And also with people. So that's what I do. I just connect stuff, but I can also see it separate. So the same with music. I can really perceive it in that way, and I see it more in colors also, like more like this is blue, this is yellow, more than just good or bad. And then but there's few stuff that outcast my thinking. There's like Jacob Collier, for example, or people like this. Then it's like so like out there that you cannot comprehend. And there's and then because the rest, I think I understand it. Eventually, I can make it. Or I can,
But musically, you mean?
yeah, musically, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But because there's few guys like this that is like, okay, no, this is above my brain capacity, and then it only hits with the emotion. And I do function a lot like this, between switching between thinking and feeling, and I think I'm quite for myself in balance to go between both sides, and I can navigate in there. And there's few people who are like, then I cannot comprehend with the thinking, and then it goes only in the feeling. Does it make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah, sure. Definitely. For me also, I don't really. The counter to this though is that maybe you don't think like this, but the rest of the world does think like this.
Yeah, but it's only for myself. Yeah.
But you have to believe. I mean, that's why you have to adapt to that, like the rest of the world.
Yeah,
like thinking in genres and whatever, because it's that's just the way it works, right?
Yeah. But that's also why I don't use my name and I use nicknames and stuff like that, because that whole thinking. To think in boxes like that, it just bugs me. Like, so I would rather stay away, and I focus on what I do, and that's my truth. But I'm also like, I don't think I'm super judgmental. I mean, I'm not Buddha or something. But so when people think or experience stuff differently, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Like,
All right, just one more thing before we go to the questions. We don't have
Those
any.
were the questions?
Yeah, the questions of the listeners. I mean, sorry, but we don't have a demo klets today because there were no demos. So that's a pity because you listen to a lot of demos and you could give really good advice. Maybe we can ask the people who are listening to this.
Do you have
to
demos
send
from last
something.
time?
Yes, but we already. That's the rule. We have already reviewed them. And
I'm also curious if people give the same feedback to the same demos.
Yeah.
Probably not, of course.
Probably not. No.
So in the end, that's also what I write in all my feedback. I had it last night. So at 3 a.m. in the middle of the night, I was answering to a writer, and I wrote my feedback. But yeah, what is it worth actually? It's worth nothing. It's just my feedback.
It's just it's more like a numbers game, right? You gotta get so much feedback and then see what's the general
and
consensus.
then you pick it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's the for the one who asks for feedback. I think that it's a good thing to do, but first of all, you have to be able to accept it, but also accept it that it is one truth. But if you understand that this truth is one truth, and then you can make it yours and hopefully develop from this.
Yeah, great.
So I think a lot of people don't send a demo because they think, well, it's not finished yet, or I need to work on it a little bit more. Do you think they should?
Yeah, sure. Because also what is depends what feedback you look for, but I'm happy to look at the picture of where people stand at one moment. Because this.
No. And what would you advise a band to? Let me rephrase that question. Would you advise a band to play for free, or an artist? Because this is a big thing in the group.
Sure. It's complex. I work every day for free. in that whole thing of like I help you and.
No, but I mean, like you get a salary, right, and or whatever you get.
Sometimes not.
No, but at least you.
Like it's never for free. Like it's in your own balance of what you get back. I know it's super complex discussion because but it's a discussion because the system is not working anyway. I can also turn it around. Why should you be paid for making music? And when I say this, I piss in my own pot because that's also how I make my living as a musician. But if you go to Africa in the middle of a village, people make music. They don't ask for a fee for making music. In the prehistoric time when people were jamming with dinos or bones or whatever, like they were also not paid for making music. So is it actually something that should be even monetized?
All right, let me react to that because.
I do the advocate of the devil now.
Yeah.
Right?
That's okay, but if they're in Africa, if there's a restaurant and they see those people on the street and you want to play at our restaurant so that more people come.
Yeah. Then it's something else. It's because then it became monetizable because of the industry that built around it. So, which is a quite recent thing, right? It started...
like the 60s or something?
No, I think it kind of started with in the time with Liszt and Paganini when it started to become more personalized. So it's like, oh, there's one dude, he can play really fast. Let's make a poster and organize a concert and let people pay for it. So while before you were just making music and you get bread in exchange or whatever. And so then it started to be like a monetizable product. And and that's the system we are now. Then that to be paid or to get something back in return, that's something you have to ask for yourself. Like, look, my daughter, she's 7. She played yesterday a gig, and it was awful. But and does she have to ask money for it? No. Well, I don't know why actually, but will she get something from it? And that's something she will find out through the years for herself. So I've been playing a lot of gigs for free, but then I made the decisions, which one do I do for free and everything, because it's building a relationship, because you're helping somebody and then it's going to help you back and everything. And that's, it's easy to push that question towards the outside, like they don't want to pay me anything, but in the end, you make your decisions of life by yourself.
So which kinds do you think people should play for free and which kind of gigs shouldn't?
I don't know for the others, but for myself, I would do stuff when I feel that that it's in balance with what I get for myself back.
And that can be like joy, the quality.
Triangle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's my triangle of choices, actually.
Yeah. All right, cool. That's pretty cool. That's actually a good answer, because if you think you're worth money, you shouldn't do it. And if you think you are if you want to do it because you want to help somebody, but I think the complaint is really specific, because like a couple of years ago, before
Can I say
COVID,
what I think the complaint is that this complaint comes from people who are struggling.
Yeah.
And I understand why, because I also did conservatory and stuff like that, and also have a shitload of friends who are struggling. And when I started to, I also didn't have money and whatever. So then I worked my ass off. So then hopefully I'm fine. But so it is difficult. But in the end, it's still a choice that you made for yourself. Like no one's forcing you to make music or whatever. And then you can push it, your own unhappiness into outside factors. I think I understand why, but I think it's more fragile than when you take the responsibility from yourself.
Yeah.
Because here you have control and stuff from the outside. I don't talk about disease or whatever, but stuff that if your own happiness and what you are satisfied with is outside of you, is really vulnerable, because you have no control. So I wouldn't. I try to get those mindset out of my brains, because it's only backfiring.
Yeah. You don't focus on the people who don't want to pay you. Just focus on yourself, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the questions. Hebben jullie mensen intern nodig? Not interns, intern, which means inside the company.
Yeah, so I think when I explained the structure, the way that we function, look at like about that whole concept of paying people and whatever. Like the whole studio is working on people energy that don't always get a financial thing, but I do give a lot back, and that's in whatever I have. So like and this is in people's hands also to turn this into to money, or it's a balance thing. And then from the moment that it's not enough compared to what they put in, what they get back, but like paid jobs, they are growing. At the moment, not. But there's also but hands to help to build stuff. How do I function? The guys that really make something out of that relationship are the ones that are also that understand that entrepreneur thing, because it's like, okay, like you like to do stuff, you have an idea, and that's what you want to do. And if it makes sense of doing it together, we both gonna win from it. And but it's not that one has to pay the other or whatever. Like it depends on case per case.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of your answer for every question.
Yeah, but
That's fine.
Yeah,
it's true. But
I mean it like
So for Carlos Mansa, what can he do? Send you like Malik at Wisseloord sent an email.
Yeah, send some music CV, and then what I say, I get about 20.
A day,
a
week,
not per week, something like this, and then I look at it, and now Joe, the facility manager, also is taking care of this, because he's managing all the interns, and and then the smart people, they make money from it, like because when they know the studio, then they can go to connect to people outside, and then in the end, it's a natural selection process.
All right. I think I'm gonna do this one first. Sure. This one is from Nicolette. I'm gonna do it in Dutch first, and then I'll try to translate if you don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Aan Malik. Als initiator van Wisseloord Academy zou ik willen vragen waarom deze prachtige opleiding alleen toegankelijk is voor de vermogende studenten. Voor mijn talentvolle semi-professionele muzikale zoon, die nu door COVID geen inkomsten uit optredens meer heeft, is dit bijna kansloos. Zelfs met ondersteuning van de fondsen genoemd op de website.
Mm-hmm.
Ik begrijp dat Wisseloord terecht een standaard heeft op te houden, maar dat het geld maar dat geldt toch alleen zeker voor professioneel en niet voor financieel niveau.
Mm-hmm.
Did you understand this?
Yes, I understand. So she says that it's too expensive for her wallet.
It's expensive and she understands that, but that you need to keep the quality high, but that should only be for professional level, not for like financial level high.
Yes, so there's few things. First of all, I have to pay the teachers. Check.
Yeah.
Two, it's actually the cheapest private school from all the other private schools. So it's more or less, I will not name names, but compared to all the other institutions, it's half of the price. Next to this, there are some payment plans through the stuff. And the school is a non-profit organization. It's inside the stichting, just to make it clear. So it's the balance between the cost and the omzet.
Yeah.
So, because I have to pay the people who give the classes.
Okay. So what would you say to the son of Nicolette?
Yeah, and so the way that the academy is constructed, first of all, I don't know which prices she talks about because it's all kind of modules. And that's also why I build it like this, to make sure that it's kind of affordable for everybody. Because if you do only the creative modules, then I think in total is like the DAW classes for the whole year is 1,500 euros. I have to check on the website. So it's like 150 euros per month. If the creative lessons are like 300 euros per month, it's cheaper than when you take just private piano lessons, individual. So in the end, it's what is too expensive. It's actually way cheaper than most of the other schools.
Right.
And if you plus there, because it's a CRKBO registered institution, there are some funds that pay 50% of it. And then if you do it smart again, that's the entrepreneur side, you can actually make money from it. There's few students who did it pretty smart. Like they subscribed to the classes and then they brought projects in together with their band, for example, and they took private lessons. And then they turned this into a project where the band participated, and then they created content that they released, and then they got gigs from it. So in the end, it was an investment on something on their own entrepreneurship, and then they made a profit from it. So it's a fake truth. It depends from which glasses you look at it, but I do understand.
I don't think it's a fake because it's a lot of money. But still,
but it depends from which angle you look at it.
So it's what you say. Like if you would do private lessons, I mean, you got to learn somehow, or you got to do it yourself.
Yeah.
So I think it's
and I have to pay
it's a
the
good
teachers.
option. Yeah, it's a good option to.
But I'm open to hear other alternatives.
Yeah.
But it's not that I don't want to be a school for rich people. I want a school to be an open thing. But we don't get money from the government. So they are like the conservatories and everything where you get a scholarship and everything. But because they don't pay from their own ecosystem, they get funding from it. And and I did think about it. So about making it like a school with a diploma and everything. But then you're stuck in that format that I talked about that I don't want to be part of.
Yeah.
So that's the price to pay.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
All right. Then a question from Jos Harmelink. I will say it in Dutch first. Voor iedereen die geen Wisseloord kan betalen, maar zelf een home studio heeft gemaakt. Wat is de gouden akoestiek tip die je zelf eenvoudig kan maken?
First to treat your room.
How?
Yeah, like I'm not in the room. But you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Like if you have a problem in the low end, then you have to treat your low end. If you have a problem of some weird frequency, you can measure it himself. You have some stuff like you can buy a mic and everything, and you can do it with the software. So it's like EQing your room, or you can actually EQ your room yourself by treating it. I think that's the best way to do it. And then you can do a lot of that stuff by yourself. You can send I don't know if I have to go really technical, but you can send a sine wave and record it. And even without recording, you go through all the frequencies and you move in your room. And if you hear in one spot that frequency is louder here, then you need to kill it here. But that's
And
like a job by itself. Like
Yeah. So how would you? It's not if you want to do it. Okay, that sounds a bit like you want to do it real good, like proper.
Yeah.
But what if you just want to make it less roomy, for instance? Just
most of the time, I'm not an acoustician, but my first studios, when I treated myself, I did like everybody. I put some egg stuff on the walls and everything, but that doesn't work. So first try to cut the corners with bass traps.
Bass traps are like
thing,
areas filled with in the corner.
Yeah.
With
actually, the first thing to do is try to move your table and your chair in the room. That's the cheapest.
Where it sounded best.
Yeah. Start there. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's a good one. That's a good one. Just move it where it sounds best.
Yeah.
Where you're sitting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. But I also think he says for people who can't afford Wisseloord, I mean, you said a lot about that. I mean, you're open to talk, and it's also not that expensive anymore.
Depends which. So there are a lot of different studios.
Yeah.
So the prices, they are changing, and they will change through time as well. Next to the barter side, but today, Studio 1 is 70 euros per hour. Studio 2 is 50 euros per hour. Studio 4 is 25 euros per hour. Studio M1 and Studio M2 are 35 euros per hour. And if you go to the cinema, you also pay 15 euros or I don't know what for a ticket or what.
Yeah.
And depends what you do. If you want to record a whole band, you don't go to M1. Actually, there's quite some producers who do it. It works pretty good actually. It's like a one room kind of a studio. So, but it's possible to work like that. And I also did a lot of productions just in one room, and it's a tool. So, in the end, you can always make it affordable, I think.
I think. Do you have something?
No.
I think we're done. Thanks for coming.
Cool.
This some awesome information.
No, it was fun.
Yeah. People can contact you at info@Wisseloord or Malik@Wisseloord.
Yes.
.nl.
Yes.
Right. Well, this was it. Thank you.
No, thanks for
Thank you.
having me, and I hope it was interesting for people.
Yeah,
For
was
sure.
interesting for me. So that's already good.
Yeah, thanks.